What are you excited about over there? You're not holding the mug. I'm not giving you a coffee mug. What's your buffalo? Is that it? You're like, no, give me the mohair? You're not having that either. Goodness. Hey guys, I'm Bella, the maker mama boss lady behind Fiber and Fox, and this is episode 62 of my podcast. I am a crochet designer. I also knit. We're going to talk about all of it and everything that you're going to need to know about me, or anything that I mention in this video podcast is going to be linked down below. So check the show notes down bar, wherever we're calling it these days. It's down below the video. So yes, episode 62, and I am going to be announcing the giveaway winner of the 5,000 subscriber giveaway from the last episode, with the Silver Key Stitches yarn, the Notions pouch, and stitch marker. I have it over here, but it's behind my mannequin and I can't reach it right now, but I will announce the winner later on. Let's just get right into it. Baby's currently happy. We never know how long that's going to last, so we're just going to dive right on it. I have a little bit of everything today, but a lot of finished objects, so I'm excited to chat those with you. Up first for discussion is Dandelion Days cowl, this pretty little fringy lady back here, on my girl Bolin, because she's got no head. The Dandelion Days cowl I am planning on releasing, what is next Friday? I think it's the 17th. So not the Friday you're watching this podcast, but the following Friday, maybe the 17th. Yes, March 17th of 2023. I'll be releasing this pattern. It is going to be my first of the year, and releasing a pattern is always kind of a lot, but with a baby, I'm still, I know I keep talking about it, but really I'm very much in the figuring out how this is going to work phase. So I'm hoping to have it out by next Friday. There'll definitely be a Etsy and Ravelry listing. Hoping for a pattern drop video. Not sure if there'll be a pattern drop blog post. There will be an email. So if you're not on my mailing list, that's linked down below if you want to make sure you don't miss it. And yeah, I'm excited to share that with you and get a pattern out. I also have it's not really a design, it's a swatch. I have a swatch. So progress is being made, but oh, that's so pretty. Working on a design in this stitch, which is crochet, but has a very, I think, knit-like, almost seed stitch, or broken rib kind of texture to it, but it's crochet. So I am working on a design in this stitch, in this yarn, super drapey. I'm hoping to have it out I'm just hoping to have it out at this point, but it's a bamboo, and what are you, bamboo viscose? Yes, 50% cotton and 50% viscose from bamboo. Yarn, and I am designing a Ruana type cape, we're going with Ruana, but that's next on the design list. So I'm working on that, and it's exciting to be designing again. I'm trying to figure out where to put all the stuff because I have so many finished objects to show you. I finished the cardigan, but we're not going to talk about that just yet. We'll work up to that, even though it's on the top of the pile and it's the easiest to access. I will go in chronological order. Well, this throws a wrench in my chronological order. Okay, we'll go slightly out of chronological order because I have new sock blockers, and a finished pair of socks is on them. So I got new sock blockers. These are, I'm not entirely sure, Spun, I think is the company. I got them from a local yarn store. She actually shipped them to me because, again, getting places these days is complex. But it says Spun stainless steel sock blockers from Eugene, Oregon. So I know she got them at like a trade show. And I'm not sure if you can order them online, but I got them from Margie's Yarn Crafts, and she shipped them to me. She doesn't have like a website, but we talked back and forth and figured out shipping and all of that, and she shipped them to me. So I have nice new metal sock blockers that are not going to snag on, because I had like wooden veneered ones before that were catching the yarn inside. They were very pretty, but a little snaggly. And these also dry quicker because they have lots of airflow, because they are basically a coat hanger for socks. And these are the size small, and I have like a size 6.5, 7-ish foot. So these are gonna be perfect for me. I'm very excited about them. So thank you, Margie, for shipping these to me. And she held on to them for a while, and it was just really great customer service. Margie's Yarn Crafts, y'all, in Granby, Connecticut. Have a couple videos about her shop as well. But this is a second pair of socks that I finished, but we'll talk about them because they're on the blockers now because I was taking pictures because they're pretty. But these are the Red Sky at Night socks. And I realized that the contrast on the colors is not ideal. They're kind of a low contrast situation, but I love Grello, gray and yellow. But this is a sock pattern out of a book that I got from the library, which needs to go back soon, so I'm glad I'm getting to talk to you about it. This is the Sock Knitting Bible by Lynn Rowe, who I believe is a tech editor for a couple people that I watch podcast-wise, but I'm not sure if she's British. I know that she tech edits for some British people. But these are the Red Sky at Night socks. There's all sorts of lovely socks in the pattern, or in the book, but obviously the ones in the pattern photos, I'm trying to not show you the pattern, I'm sorry. The ones in the pattern photos are much more high contrast than the colors I picked. But it's been my goal to do colorwork socks for a bit. And these are by Abby Brown, by the way. I'm not sure if she has an Instagram or other sort of name, but it says Abby Brown in here, Red Sky at Night. I've been wanting to do colorwork socks for a while, and just slap myself in the face with a book. Can I show you? Yeah, that works good enough. These are really pretty, and it was just 2-color, and there was a couple longer floats in there, but not anything super unmanageable and fingering weight yarn. And I've done colorwork sweaters and stuff before, so it's not that colorwork was new to me, but I haven't done colorwork socks, and I've wanted to for a bit. And that pattern stood out to me. There's actually, I always wish that like in books like this there was just like an index page with photos. Like this is kind of a roundup of socks in there, but it's in a box, so it's hard to tell. But there's a whole bunch of lovely sock patterns. Some of them are lace, some of them are very basic, some of them are cabled, some of them are colorwork, and it's got some stuff on like getting started on making socks, tools and materials. That's a cat. Cat, you're not coming in right now. And it's got info on choosing yarns and checking gauge, and then different heels and toes and cuffs and different constructions and whatnot. So yeah, it's really quite lovely. No, Jack. Jojo's yelling at the cat now. Oh, podcasting. Sorry. So that's a really lovely book. I would actually probably consider buying that one. I'm not usually one to buy, like I have a very small collection of books. I really more like stitch dictionaries than I do pattern books, but that one's lovely. And if you're new to sock knitting, I think that'd be a really good resource. But anyhow, Red Sky at Night. I tried out a couple different color combos. I knew I was going to use this gray Patton's Croy in the colorway Flax, I believe. It is my go-to. I use it a lot. I have labels because I'm a podcaster. I knew I was going to use that as my main color, and it didn't specify, like it said which yarns were used in the book and that you would need 2 colors of yarn, but it didn't specify yardage. So even if you looked up like the full skein, there was the yardage for like the full skein rather than how much yarn you would need individually for each size. So I wasn't sure if I could get away with like a mini skein for a contrast color, so I ended up trying a bunch of scrap yarns that I had, and I tried to do a couple of variegated ones, and it just wasn't working out. So finally I was like, I like gray and yellow together. I don't care if it's not high contrast like in the pattern. This is what I'm doing. And I think they came out pretty. They're definitely not like, whoa, look at that color work, because whatever, they're socks. I would not do this for a sweater combo probably, but I think it's fine on socks. And the other issue I ran into with color was that, or with the contrast, is that this yellow, which was left over, I don't remember what the colorway or anything was, but it's by Earth Yarns, and it's naturally dyed with buckthorn, maybe? Some sort of berry that creates a yellow dye. This is a fine, like, fingering weight. So this is a pretty thin yarn, and then the Patton's Croy definitely leans more towards sport weight. So this is actually the second sock. The first sock, I was holding the main color, which is the gray. Yeah, I was holding the contrast color Continental and the main color English, so that the contrast color would pop. That usually works pretty well, at least in my experience, for popping out a color. But you can see the tension on this one is just kind of weird. I don't know if you can see, honestly. I can see. It's very puckery. So even though I was holding the yellow as the dominant color, it was kind of sinking to the back because of the weight differences between the gray and the yellow, and it was doing like just weird, like it's not even a tension issue. It's like, it's popping out, but then the gray is, it's just weird. So I ended up flip-flopping. You can see here. I don't know if you really can see, I'm sorry. This was very apparent to me, but if you compare the two, this one's a lot smoother and nicer. So that one I held the gray dominant throughout. And this one I tried to hold the yellow dominant for half of it, and it was just kind of odd. And it kind of got gappy and just weird. So I guess that rule about color dominance doesn't really apply if your yarns are not exactly the same weight. But again, it sucks. I put this one on stitch holders and I finished the other one, and then I was like, I'll go back and I'll rip it out and I'll fix it. And then I was like, it's a sock. Like, and honestly, the toe part is the only part anybody sees because I wear them in Birkenstocks. I'm not like running around in shorts where people are gonna be looking at the tops of my socks. Occasionally the top of this part like peeks out in my boots, but I think it's fine because it sucks. But I think they're really pretty, and I'm really proud that I actually did colorwork socks. And I mean, people seem to need to see floats, I guess. So here are my floats, everyone. There they are. They're tidy, right? And these produce a really lovely, cushy, look how easy that was to get on and off the blocker. I'm not gonna put it back on because I'm gonna put the other socks on. Really nice, cushy, dense fabric. I would like to make a pair of all over colorwork so that my whole foot is nice and cushy. But I'm just very pleased with colorwork socks. So I think I'm definitely gonna make some more. I have a whole bunch of patterns. I have purchased the Herding Cats by Stone Knits, but Stone Knits has a ton of like foxes and mushrooms and flowers and daisies. The daisies are a flower. All sorts of really cute, I don't even know like what the like term would be for like cutesy woodland flower things. Is that a thing? It's not like cottagecore. It's like cutesy hippie. I don't know. Something. But really stuff that I would be very happy to have as socks. So a ton by Stone Knits. Fiber and Fern has a bunch of ones that I really like. Fiber and Fern. Fern and Fiber. Something. There's a whole bunch I was posting to my Instagram stories a couple days ago that there's just a bunch of lovely colorwork socks, and that's only like 2 people that I listed. So I will be making more in the future. Not mindless, but I really do enjoy a colorwork chart. The only thing about socks, they're such short rounds that it wasn't as easy to like memorize the colorwork. Obviously each row is different, but the individual like, okay, do 1 in gray, 5 in yellow, and then 3 or 2 or whatever it added up to. I think they were 8 stitch repeats, so something like that. So like if you're doing that over the yoke of a sweater, you're going to repeat the same thing more times, obviously, because you have more total stitches, but over 64 stitches, I would just barely have memorized like the color repeat when I had to start a new row on the chart. And also it was kind of annoying working out of the book because normally I will write on a chart and like cross out the rows that I've done with either a highlighter or a check mark or something. And I could have made photocopies and written on it that way. But I actually took a picture of it with my phone and was able to zoom in, which was super helpful because the chart in the book was only like tiny. So working on it at night on the couch, often holding a baby at the same time, having it on my phone and being able to zoom in kind of like row by row was very helpful, or at least condensed down to a couple rows. And I know there's apps and stuff you can track and whatever in, but yeah, I'm happy with those. So that was actually my second pair of socks that I finished, but I'll show you the first one as well. They're not very eventful, but they're worth showing. I'll just pop one on a blocker because I can pop things on blockers so easily now. Look, I won't even need to edit it out except I'm hooking my sweater. Not a handmade sweater, by the way, just one of my favorite. I've repaired it multiple times. Thrifted sweaters. All right, these are just cute. They're not exciting, but they're cute. These are another pair of blueberry waffles. I've made a ton of them by Sandy Turner. And it's just a great textured, easy beginner. I talk about them all the time. Sock. And I wasn't sold on this yarn, but now that I'm seeing it on screen, I actually kind of like it. I bought this, where I had the tag a second ago. Regia, not positive. 4 color. I'm not sure how to pronounce that middle bit there, but I thought it was going to be a patterning or self-striping, and it is in fact just a variegated bunch of chaos, but it's a fun bunch of chaos. And I think the mini skein was Elaine and Lotus. But I like those a lot. It's a really kind of fun color, not quite color pooling, but just the way the color's distributed. I think it was really pretty. And the bottoms are, no, I can't show you that. There we go. Like even in stockinette, it still looks pretty. Sometimes variegated yarns are just weird color lengths, but I feel like this is enough short color that I don't know, it reads nicely. Again, it's a sock, who cares? It's a sock. But I finished these. I finished those first. So 2 pairs of socks since I last talked to you, so that's pretty good. And what else do I have to show you? Oh no, I have to run upstairs and get it. It's on my daughter's dresser and she's sleeping, so I'll have to be stealth mode. You know what? I'm going to talk about the cardigan first, because if I go out there and my son sees me, that might complicate things. So I'll talk about the cardigan, and then if I have time, I have a finished object for my daughter as well. The cardigan, the field day cardigan, the mohair debacle, the mohair conundrum, the drama with the mohair last time. This is finished, but not like finished, as I have not blocked it or sewn in the ends, but I just finished the knitting part of it today. I'm buttoning the buttons. Hang on. It will look neater with the buttons buttoned. There are also 7,500 stitch markers on here because I was really trying to be precise and make sure that things lined up. And they do. But I have yet to take off all the stitch markers. Okay. Field Day Cardigan by Ozetta, which the pattern is here, and I will show you carefully. That was just that pattern info. The original. It is a DK weight cardigan, and I opted to work it in fingering weight and mohair held double, which was a lovely idea, but I would not recommend this method that I chose, because it ended up being, not only did it run out of the mohair and have to get a replacement, that doesn't entirely match, it sort of matches, but it became a lot. I talked about it a lot last time, but alternating the skeins. I had 3 skeins that I had hand dyed with hickory, shagbark hickory hulls. So I had 2 that were this color and 1 that was this color, all from the hickory hulls in my yard, but just 2 just came out different just based on something. This one kind of went into the dye bath first and sucked up some stuff quicker, I guess, but I really like this color. These ones I was like, I don't know if this is dark enough to make something by itself, which is why I opted for holding it with mohair. And I had 2 full skeins from Fiber for the People that I literally cannot show you what the color was because I unraveled the swatch too. It's in this precious little bag. Unraveled the swatch in order to finish. But this is literally all the yarn I have left, and that is held double. So it's just a little tiny nugget. But the original was a dusty, hazy, like lavender brown purple, because that is the color description. Dusty, hazy, lavender brown purple. And when I ordered it originally, I thought it was more on the brown side, and then it came and it was kind of a lavender hue, but I swatched and it came out really pretty, held with those. And I thought, based on yardage, and I gauged and everything, that I'd be okay with the 2 skeins. So it produced a fabric kind of like this, just a really light lavender wash over the brown, and it made it a more interesting color than just plain beige, I guess. Although I really do like that caramelly darker brown. But the construction of the cardigan it's a very interesting construction, and definitely keeps you, I still have to attach this collar bit here, but definitely keeps you interested. But you started with some short rows in the back. So you did like a back panel, and I don't know if this had like a name, this construction method, but you did like a back panel, and then there was like some picking up in the front, but also you were doing this button band simultaneously, so you weren't picking it up for it later. So you're working the button band, and then there's like a pickup on this front, and then you worked things flat, and then you like joined, and then the whole thing was flat because it's a cardigan, but it was just there's a lot of putting stitches on hold and breaking yarn. So there's just so many ends in here, and there would have been a lot of ends had I been working it in just DK, but because I was working it in essentially three skeins of brown and then 2 skeins of mohair, there's just a lot of ends that I'll deal with later. I am very much team sew in all of the ends properly because they would drive me insane if I didn't. But I'm going to sew them in later, just haven't gotten into it, and I wanted to show you for the podcast. There's a couple things I need to finish up. But yes, so we got the instruction done. And what I did last time is I had, I think, finished the body. I don't remember where I was, but I finished the body, and then I had worked parts of the sleeves. I split the yarn into 2 because I knew I wasn't going to have enough mohair, and I wanted to get as far as I could. And I had pondered frogging back some, but because I was alternating every 2 rows with the browns, which made a pretty fabric. It's a like subtle stripe. I think it's very, very pretty. The yarn was just tonal enough that the stripes aren't like too solid, so it almost looks like it's a variegated yarn instead of a stripe. So I was alternating the two skeins while holding the mohair double, and there was just no way I was ripping that back because mohair don't care about your problems. So I ran out of sleeve yarn on both sides, so they are equal non-matching sleeves. But I ran out of mohair about here on each sleeve. And because it is a mohair, essentially DK weight cardigan, I didn't want a short sleeve because I wasn't going to wear it in the summertime. And I didn't want to wear short sleeves over a long sleeve because that's just not my look. I didn't want to make it into a vest. So I was trying to find a replacement mohair. But the Fiber for the People one, which I believe was called Wood Smoke, was a one of a kind colorway. And I had bought the only two. So I couldn't even go on Ravelry and search out any. I knew that when I shopped the shop update that I got the only two that there were. So there was no replacing that. And because it was hand dyed, it was just very, not only one of a kind, but it wasn't like a solid color. So it had a lot of tones and hues and I don't know, fancy words. So it wasn't something that was going to easily be replicated by a commercially dyed mohair. But I did my best. I looked around, and when I settled on, I think we talked about it last time, I wanted to try out the Hobby, which I think they're out of Denmark. The mohair line is called Diablo. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Get behind me, Diablo. But this is actually a 40% acrylic, 30% mohair, 30% polyamide, so it's a little bit more affordable. This is not the color I went with. This is way too bright. But I ordered two. I ordered this color, which I don't think they have color names. They just have color numbers. So this lilac-y Easter purple is that. And then do I have the other one? If I do, maybe I don't. Well, I ordered another one. That's this color. So when I showed it to you last week on my phone, where is the skein for that? The ball band. Must be on the couch. But it's another Diablo by Hobby. Not sure how we say it. Yeah, same yarn, different color. I thought it was going to be more of a taupey brown gray, and it's kind of more of a purple gray, which is fine because I was working with purple brown gray before, but this is kind of missing the brown hues. I don't really know what color to compare this to, but it's very pretty. I liked it, but it was not the same, and this was definitely not an option. And I had pondered over dyeing, but because this is a mostly acrylic polyamide, I didn't think it would take dye the same way. I've not dyed any mohair or anything before, but I know that acrylic is not one that you can just throw dye at. It just doesn't work like that. Because that's not animal fiber. Neither is polyamide. And the original yarn was whatever percentage of kid silk, mohair, silk combination. So this is just slightly different. It's not quite as halo-y. It's definitely floofy. And I think if you're on a budget, this is a great option. The shipping from Denmark was kind of pricey. I think it was $10 for both skeins. But the yarn itself was it was on sale when I got it for I think $3 a skein for, are you 50 grams? 25 grams. 25 grams, 246 yards of mohair. Which is a good price. And I think the originals were only like $5 or $6. So definitely a lot cheaper than a indie dyed and definitely cheaper than some of the other commercially dyed that I've seen, but it is a more synthetic blend. But it's a good option to sub in if you're looking for something like that. So you could easily get a sweater quantity of this for much less than I paid for the indie dyed. But I love it. But you can see that there is a bit of a color discrepancy. It's not showing up as painful as I thought it would. All right, so the color change, boy, you're getting fussy out there. The color change is where the cat stitch marker is. Don't mind my 7,000 sleeve stitch markers, but this side definitely has a more brown hue, and then it gets grayish. And on, I don't think you can really tell. I can tell looking at it because I know it's there, but it's pretty, it's close enough. Like, see, brown, gray, brown, gray. So this just didn't have the same brown undertone, but I think for a sleeve, it works. If it had been a chunk of the body, I think it would have been awkward, but it's all right. And then the only other thing I need to tweak is I got so excited about being done is that I forgot I cast off the first sleeve in just the brown held double, and then this one I cast off in brown and mohair. So it's ever so slightly different, so I'll probably rip that back just to fix it. And I did a half stretchy bind off, so basically the super stretchy one, but I only yarn over on half the stitches. And I had previously been yarning over on the knits, and then Emily of a Rambling Yarn discovered that yarning over on the pearls might be smoother. The pattern called for a tubular bind off, which I've done before, and honestly I'm just not that impressed with. It's very tedious, sewing tubular bind offs, and I don't think it's that great. And who's looking at my wrists anyway? I'm bothered enough to fix the 2 different colors, but I'm not bothered enough to do sewn bind offs on my wrists. So that is my Field Day cardigan by Ozetta. It has lovely buttons. They are from Hobby Lobby. They have nice, like, carved things going on. Very pretty, very like it. And yeah, the fit is very nice. I have not blocked it yet, and I don't know how much it's going to grow. I did block the swatch, but it's hard to tell in an entire sweater. I'll pop in some footage of me wearing it if I can get that for you. But I would imagine the superwash yarn will grow less paired with the mohair. Is that a thing? I don't honestly know. I'm hoping. I made the sleeves extra long because I like to cuff them, but the body is a nice cropped look. Kind of boxy, but I think it's good. And it's got these nice like shoulders, so you can't see this. I'll just put in the footage, guys. It'll be better. But yes, I'm just glad this is done because I was really worried that I was going to not be able to finish it or I was going to have a weird short-sleeved cardigan. It didn't turn out exactly as I had hoped, but it was a good learning experience. This is the first garment that I had held mohair double with. So I think if you're going to dive into holding mohair double on a garment, maybe do something in the round because it's a lot easier to alternate skeins, or don't alternate skeins, whatever, live your wild life, but I'm a big skein alternator, especially when the skeins are that visibly different. And if I had had the other skein of mohair from the get-go, I'm sure I could have hidden it a little better, whatever. It's fine. It all worked out. It's beautiful. It's lovely. It's done. Okay, I'm going to take an intermission, go get the other item, and see if that baby's gonna make it. Hang on. So the thing about attachment parenting, your children are very attached, which is a great thing, but hard for podcasting. I walk out there and I was like, why are you so mad? My husband's like, because you've been away from him for 20 minutes. Yes, I love him and he loves me. It's all good. He likes his papa, but you know, his papa's not his mama. He may have to co-host again. But I snuck into my daughter's room and I got this vest. So this is kind of a hybrid, I sort of finished it object. I'm trying to get the fuzzies off of it. My mom knit the vest part. So the purple vest, it is showing up blue, but I promise you it is like Barney purple. We're gonna try again. Welcome to my podcast with tiny feet. This is what you get, guys. Okay, so I snuck in and I got this vest. We were saying that it's Barney purple and not this blue. Like, I can't show blues on or purples on this podcast. My camera does not appreciate it, but I promise it's bright purple. My mom had knit this vest bit. The lace is showing up very nicely. So this part up into the ribbing, so sleeveless purple vest. And I don't have pattern info because she got it out of, maybe she can, well, she has it, she can put it down below, but she had gotten it out of a library magazine. So I don't even know what magazine, no an idea what issue, but the idea of the pattern was you knit this vest bit down to this ribbing, and then you sew a skirt on. So you sew a fabric sewn skirt. And she was making it for my daughter. This is obviously not mine. But for whatever reason, the idea of sewing a skirt onto a knitted top made my daughter weep repeatedly, especially when her grandmother bought a pre-made dress and threatened to cut it. It was very emotional. Don't do that. I don't think my mom made any major alterations other than it wasn't supposed to have the buttons on the top. The neckline was too tight, so I was like, cut into it and see if you can add buttons to be able to get her head through. So one side on buttons, the other side's just buttons to match. And she added an extra side panel because it wasn't quite wide enough. But that's really all I know about the pattern. But it's this pretty like V heart-shaped lace thing. That is showing up so blue. It is literally the color of a slightly suntanned Barney. Yeah. My mom had a little bit of the purple yarn left over, and I was like, okay, let me see if I can salvage it into something that she's okay with, because she's a woman of many opinions, my daughter, which apple doesn't fall far from the tree. But my mom had a little purple left, so I was like, okay, I'll add some ruffles. We'll make it a peplum, but there wasn't much purple left, and I think the purple yarn may have even been from Dollar Tree. It is an acrylic, but it's pretty nice and soft. So I added this ruffle bit onto the knitting with crochet, which I love a good crocheting knit hybrid. But then it was still kind of an awkward length. Like, it started out too short because it was supposed to have a dress attached to the bottom. So it was like an umpire waist, umpire strikes back. I don't know. One of them is, I don't know. We're just going to keep it. So it was too short to wear just as the best. And even with the purple ruffle, it was still kind of too short, but then I ran out of the purple yarn and may have been able to obtain more of it, but didn't care to. So I got some black yarn, and this is some commercial black, very thin lace weight superwash yarn. And I added, you can't really see it super great, this cute little, this is very difficult to show. They're almost like little like upside down hearts. Now the other cat's out there. Look at the chaos. This lovely border. And I edged out the sleeves in black and added a little ruffle half sleeve. This, by the way, is the most fascinating thing he's ever seen in his life, looking at this top while dangling upside down. So this is apparently how I podcast now. But this border on the edge is out of this book, and I will link all of the books, by the way, down below that I mentioned. This is one that's always on Amazon as either like being $700 or $20. It's one of those weird ones that people jack up the price on, but you're fine. We're looking at a book now. We're almost done. I bookmarked the page with a piece of string. It is the Zigzag Dainty on page 250. This is a nice book. It's got charts and written instructions and all sorts of motifs and stitches and edges and whatever. I use it a lot. So that's that. I don't know what we're calling this pattern, but my daughter likes it and she wears it and she doesn't cry. So it's a win. Thanks, Mom, for doing the knitting. Cute. And I think that's all. Is the blood rushing into your head? I think that's all the finished object type things that I have to talk to you about. I had a few acquirings, but we'll see if we get through those. Let's see. Can I do this with one hand? I don't know. I recently went... You're kind of chaosy. Yeah, what is it that you want over there? Want to hold the notebook? You can hold the notebook. Don't eat it. You're going to eat it. And or rip it. Okay. Recently, I'm part of a Makers Guild kind of thing. An artisan collective, if you will. With local Connecticut makers of all types. And we've been going on like little field trips to some of the makers who have actual studios. Actual workspace type places, not in their homes. And some of us went and visited Purring Pottery, Heather Abel, in Colchester, Connecticut. We also stopped by Tree Fort Naturals, which is my favorite soap maker and friend, Jess. So we stopped by there, and I don't have soap. I have tons of soap to show you, but I don't think I need to show you soap because you can't smell it. But I grabbed a couple ceramic. It would be easier to show you if I had my other hand, but it is holding up a baby. A couple ceramic buttons that I don't know what I'll use on because they're rather heavy based on the ceramic-iness of them. But they're all little like one of a kind. She mostly does bowls and like trinket dishes and stuff. But there's just a couple. And this one she said looked like an owl face to her, which makes me love it even more because my daughter loves owls. You can't really see it, but it has like little ear tufts looking things going on in there. So I grabbed those and I just thought they were cute. And then this is sort of an acquiring for my birthday. My sister-in-law and my mother-in-law got me this mug, and then my sister-in-law cricketed my logo onto the side. So yes, I do need all this yarn. So that's cute. And that's just about all I have to share with you. I will draw the giveaway winner. I haven't done it yet. I want to give you a couple more days to enter. But I will draw it and I will put it on the screen. So if you are the person who won, please get in contact with me, either bella@fiberandfox.com, my email, or fiber.and.fox on Instagram, and I will gladly send those things over to you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for, again, putting up for another exciting episode on the Fiber and Fox channel. I appreciate it. He appreciates it. Yeah, being a mama's the best. So thank you for giving me grace in that, because that's really the most important thing for me. And yeah, it's fun to make too. So I'm gonna go and spend time with this boy, I guess, because that's what he needs all the time. A best boy. Yeah, I know. He's the best boy. I will see you in episode 63, and I am looking forward to hearing from you, the winner. Thanks, guys. I will talk to you soon for another exciting episode and hopefully a pattern release.